In the new seminary, we're blessed with wonderful and inspired teachers, many of whom specialize in unique areas of ministry. We are also blessed with master teachers, professors who grasp on all aspects of comparative religion, interfaith dialogue, and spirituality, bringing true enlightenment to our classes. Dr. Andrew Vidich is a master teacher. Dr. Vidich is an award-winning author, consultant, and international speaker. His books include Love is a Secret and Light Upon Light, 5 Master Paths to Awakening the Mindful Self. He's been an adjunct assistant professor of religion at Manhattan College and Iona College in New Rochelle, New York. His latest book is entitled Let There Be Light, Experiencing Light Across the World's Sacred Traditions. Dr. Vidich's consulting firm, Leadership Training Programs, trains people in effective communication, mindfulness, conflict management, and leadership development. He is with us today to share an interfaith blessing and reflection. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Andrew Vidich.
Thank you so much for the very kind introduction. This very moving ceremony today. I just want to thank Dr. Jay Spites and all of the participants here today for the opportunity to share my thoughts with you today. In first order, let me congratulate all of you on this momentous occasion and this momentous achievement in all of you. I consider this graduation probably one of the most important moments in your lives, certainly greater than many of the regular academic achievements that may have gone through in our life, because it is transformational. And I think you've probably heard that word many, many, many times. But when we look at that word for a moment with a little bit more reflection, we see there are 2 parts to it, trans and form. So this is not just tinkering on the edges. This is actually creating a new form, a new you, a new person who goes out into the world to make the world a better place. So in that spirit of total transformation, which is really another word for spirituality, I once again congratulate you and all of your teachers and all of the people who have been instrumental in your journey, and take a moment to be grateful to all of the people who have been a part of that transformation and continue to love and support you as you move forward in your own journey. So I just have a few short little stories to share with you on this theme of transformation. And I was also moved to see the story, Rabbi Gelverman again with Swami Satchidananda, and to reiterate some of the points they made here via some storytelling. You know, a lot of transformation is about seeing new perspectives. And when we change the way we see things, the things we see change. Let me repeat that. When we change the way we see things, the things that we see change. So it is not just about hearing something. It's about taking those words into our life and actually creating transformation from them. So there's a very interesting story, which I think hopefully will resonate with all of you, about a mother and a child. And the mother was creating embroidery. And as you know, when you create an embroidery, it's created on a small circle, and the web or the fabric is tight over the circle. And as you are embroidering, if you are looking at the embroidery from underneath, it looks pretty chaotic. And so as she was sitting there, she was telling her child that she's making a beautiful embroidery to give to a good friend at her graduation. And The child was quite young, maybe 8 or 9, and was looking from underneath. And all he saw was all of these crisscrossing threads with no apparent design, no apparent meaning. It all seemed to be confusing and chaotic. But she kept assuring the child that if he would be patient, that she would eventually reveal in this chaos, in this confusion, that there was a higher plan, there was a higher design at work. So after about 45 minutes to an hour, she turned and asked the child to come and sit on her lap. And she sat, and when the child sat on her lap, she then saw this incredible embroidery of beautiful flowers and skies and absolutely luminous colors. And this, I think, is the metaphor for our lives and the metaphor for transformation. That from the human perspective, when we look at God's plan and our individual role in it, it can often look very confusing. We can't understand the higher things that are at work in the divine plan, the pandemic being one of them, and many, many other things that are going on in the world today, some of which were mentioned by our dear friend Victor Furman. The seeming confusion, the racism, and all of the ills that we see confronting us. The pandemic has released a great deal of vision, new vision for us to see. But when we look from a higher perspective, we see that indeed every thread, every piece of fabric is part of a higher plan, a higher destiny. And our job then is to step out of the old perspective and see from God's eyes the divinity that is at work, the higher plan that is at work. And this is really what the role of transformation is all about. Shifting our vision from the human, limited, transitory perspective to the unlimited, infinite perspective. We can call it the perspective of God's consciousness. We can call it the perspective of love. We can call it the perspective of compassion. So what does this transformation look like? I have been very blessed to have 3 very, very great spiritual masters in my own life, and I credit everything that I have learned to their holy wisdom. And one of the things that my own spiritual master mentioned, Sant Kirpal Singh, many, many times, and which impressed me as a youth tremendously. He said, the highest, I repeat, the highest thing there is fellowship. The highest thing there is fellowship. And what then the only thing that is higher than fellowship is God consciousness. So what did he mean by fellowship? By fellowship, he meant sharing in the sufferings of others, opening our heart to compassion. And the second part of that is giving back to the world the best of what we have been given ourselves. So it is only in giving back that we can receive more. So this journey, if we look at it, is really the journey of human being making. And it is a long journey toward perfection. But ultimately, that is the goal of each and every one of us. As Jesus, the great Nazarene, once said, be ye perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect. So to embrace that full transformation, we need the sacred technologies that all of you are now engaged in. And that knowledge is already present within us. And that is the irony of transformation, is that you cannot become who you already are. So how do we do that? We do that through the technology of ecstasy, of meditation, of prayer, of communion. And this is the transforming tool that all great teachers and all great spiritual masters have called us to on a daily basis. So I'd like to share with you one final little short story, which for me encapsulates the journey of transformation. It is, as Gandhi once said, to be the change we seek, to embody that change. If we can embody this change, then we will radiate peace, we will radiate love wherever we go. And words actually will be superfluous. So this is a story about a great saint whose name was Swami Prabhupada, who was a God-intoxicated man, lived in India in the 15th century. And every great spiritual teacher immerses themselves in the remembrance of God. So much so that they radiate that love, they radiate that peace, and it's pouring out of their body every moment of their life. So one day he came up to a bunch of washermen, and in those days, washermen washed the clothes by the riverbank. And he saw them washing the clothes, and he was in a state of ecstasy, and he was just chanting the name of God. He was invoking the divine presence. And the way that he did this was by repeating the name God, Hari Bol. Hari means God, Bol means chant the name of the Lord. So it's a way, it was his personal way of invoking the divine. And so he came up to these three washermen, and he started chanting the name. And the three washermen looked at him as if he were crazy. What is this man doing? Why is he trying to interrupt us? Why is he trying to distract us? And he gave a God-intoxicated look to one of these washermen, looked him in the eyes and said, Haribol, chant the name of the Lord. Repeat the name of the Lord. Immerse yourself in his invocation. And with just one glance, he turned around, he was transfixed, and he started, yes, yes, chant the name of the Lord, invoke the divine presence. And he started to chant the name of the Lord. And then the saint said again, this time with even greater force, chant the name of the Lord, Haribol, Haribol. And the other two also started chanting, also became intoxicated. He turned around and started walking away. The dobies, the washermen, dropped their clothes and started chanting and following him in unison. So this is my simple message. Be the change that we seek. Words are unnecessary if we radiate that love and peace and give back to the world what all the great masters have done selflessly. So the message is simple. Love God, love all humanity. God resides in all, have respect for all, serve all, and give, give, and give all your life. Thank you again. It's been a great joy, a great blessing to be with all of you here today. And I once again congratulate you all on this transforming moment in your life to be the change that all of us are seeking in this world. Thank you again.
Amen. Amen.